I've gotten a lot of requests to talk about that thing that we all live with. It's called self doubt. In fact, this is the fourth time I'm redoing this because I had so much doubt that I was getting my points across. So there you go. So here's the good news about self doubt. The good news is it's a learned behavior. And if it's learned, guess what? Obviously, it can be unlearned. And what we have to do, there are three things, three ways we need to look at this. Self doubt, where did it start? Now, often we'll go back and say, my mother this, or my father said that, or my brother said this. But sometimes it comes from a moment that we don't even think about. And I was tracking back about this a while ago. And while I can dance and kind of shake around a little bit, I always feel a little bit awkward. And I was able to track back to when I was about 4 years old and I was in Miss Dorothea's dancing class. And there were about 20 little girls in there, and we were prancing around. And we put a show on at one point, and the parents were there. And I was doing my little twirling whatever. And I heard this woman on the side talking, and she said, "Boy, that's Sylvia. She is clumsy." Well, it went and it went right in. Zoom. It was like a torpedo inside me. And after that, I became very uncomfortable and awkward. And I had to constantly, every time I'd get up to dance, say, "You're fine, you're good, you can do it." And I'm okay, but I'll tell you these things that happen just randomly. I don't know who the woman was. I never saw her again, but her thoughts, her voice stayed in my brain. So what we have to do is really work. This is where they talk about mindset work and how you can change your mind. And that's really very important because we can all do it. That's where the core is. And you can believe it. Oh, interesting beliefs. That's the next thing I want to talk about is your skill base and your beliefs. And I will tell you what I've seen over and over is people with incredible skills. If the belief is they can't do it, they won't. If the belief is they'll fall, they will. So it's constant working internally with ourselves about beliefs, skill, self talk. Now, the rest of this time, I want to talk about something that's really, for me, equally or even more important, and it's about how your self doubt shows up in relationships, because that's what happens. If you're in a business situation and you don't think you can do a great presentation, and you're in front of the room saying, "Oh, this is going to fail," or "I'm not going to be good enough," whatever goes on in your mind, I would like to introduce those of you who don't know about it to the concept of mirror neurons. And this is where what we do and say, people will pick up and they will give back to us. So it's just an interesting idea that needs a lot of research and a lot of work on your part. I can only give you the tidbits of it in this short little section, but mirror neurons, it's when you do something, people will pick it up. They will either model you. I mean, do a study with it. They've done these things. Just smiling. You walk into a room with a big smile on your face and you look around smiling, and you will begin to see people smile back. And if you walk back with a grumpy look on your face, you begin to feel people hold back, saying, "Whoa, I better be careful in here." So, what we do is in relationships, you begin to look at the idea that what's in your head and how you bring it out is definitely going to impact people on the other side of it. That's part of why we like cheerleaders, why we like people who can say, "Come on, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it," because for the most part, you can. And it brought to mind for me at time we had taken a group to do a team building program, and there was a pole. It was, oh, I don't know, about 15 feet in the air, 20 feet in the air, and we had to climb the pole and stand on this little kind of pizza delivery box size container up at the top, and then jump off. We were harnessed, obviously, but jump off to ring the bell. And, most people went up there saying, I don't know if I can do it. And therefore, most people never rang the bell. But then we did it the next day and we had everybody cheering. You can do it. You can do it. Yes, you can. It can work. Come on. And I would say 75% of the people on the second day were able to ring the bell. So we do impact each other. So as we work with our own level, everybody has self-doubt about something. Everybody, I don't care who they are. And if they say not, you know, they're telling a fib. So what we do when we work with this is begin to look back, see where it began. Sometimes you'll find it, sometimes you won't. I mean, it was just an odd thing that this woman called me clumsy and it stayed with me. But wherever you need to go back, look for where it began, start to reframe your mindset, make a shift in your mind. And I've been doing this work a long time, and here's what I can tell you is people who have been able to make that shift to a more positive way of thinking and saying, I can do it, they can. The other time I want to tell you about this, I don't know who out there has ever karate chopped a piece of wood. It's a very exciting experience. And I remember standing with this piece of wood and a hand, looking at my hand saying, there's no way. But we learned how to train our minds to work with this. And what you have to do is you make the full rotation with your hand. You don't just chop and stop at the top of the block. You take your hand almost like a golf swing and you do it all the way through. And I remember standing there saying, I can. And, I hurt my hand a couple of times. Then I went to this place of saying, it's just me. It's a piece of wood. I've watched other people. This is the mirror neurons. I watched other people who were not any stronger than I am chop that piece of wood. So I took that deep breath and I went into, yes, I can. And I imaged it before I did it. And then I went, and I have to tell you, chopping that piece of wood, cutting it in half, watching it break, for me was one of the most extraordinary experiences. So if you ever get a chance to do it, please go for it. But it's watching the other people, the mirror neurons. If they could do it, I could do it. And I had to tell those dark forces in my brain to zip it, to stop it. So that's it for today. Begin to walk around and think to yourself, what can I do to make sure that I can be in charge of what my mind is saying to me and how I can bring it out? And if you'd like a session, please contact me. I would love to give you a strategy session with all the things I've done to overcome so many of the self doubts that I've been feeling, and they still come up once in a while, but not nearly the way they did, and how we can help the next generation and those we work with and those we live with to do better so we can all become more excellent at everything we do. Have a beautiful, wonderful rest of the day, and thank you so much for listening.